Hi there, this is Tim Collins with Alabama Computer Guy. I make technology work like you want it to. You may be coming to this video from our earlier presentation called So, You and Your Business Do Not Yet Have a Website. Or you may be coming to us without having viewed and reviewed that information. In either case, before I get into the 15 reasons why people and businesses do not yet have websites, let me touch on two key points. It will set the stage for what comes next. The first is 50% of the businesses in the United States do not yet have a website. I learned this through the Associated Press just a few days ago, and it shocked me. I assumed that 85% of all businesses already had a website, but I was wrong. It's only 50%. So, if you and your business do not yet have a website, don't feel too badly. You're not alone. With that said, it's my professional and personal opinion that every small and medium-sized business in this country absolutely has to have a website. Period. It's not really up for debate. The second point is, regardless of your reticence, fears, whatever the reasons might be that you do not have a website for your business yet, let's boil business websites down into their most fundamental component. Doing so will help you move forward perhaps more easily than you otherwise could. The fundamental essence of a basic business website is it's nothing more than the 21st century version of an electronic business card. In the old days, even to the present moment, you had a business card that you had from the printer, and you passed it out to people as you walk through life. All a basic business website needs to be is the electronic version of that. Many, if not most, of your current and potential customers have cell phones. They have computers, laptops, some sort of a device that's electronic. And if you're not present there, they are going to find it very difficult to find you. They may not have access to your paper business card, and you're losing out. Don't let whatever preconceived ideas or reasons that you have for not getting a website stop you from taking care of your customers and making yourself visible in their electronic world. Those are the two key points. Now, with all of that said, I'd like to run through the 15 reasons that I have selected through my many years of being in the computer, technology, internet, website business, and run through them and see if you don't have one or more of these reasons in mind. Additionally, I'm going to point out why 14 of the 15 reasons will ultimately lead to the demise of your business operation. My goal ultimately is to work you through whatever reasons that you might have in your head about not getting a website so that you can take that first step and finally pull the trigger, join the party in the website world, at least in a basic, simple, affordable way. Reason number one that I have heard from potential clients, at least in the past, is it's just too complex. Business owners and managers have this notion, perhaps rightly so from their history in the 1990s, that putting together a website for their business is just too tricky. It's too much to think about and do. That was once true. In the 1990s, it was very difficult for the average person or business owner to put together a website. Here in the 21st century, it's absolutely not complex. Certainly not for a basic business website. Reason number two, I just don't know how to do it. Well, a lot of successful business owners and managers are do-it-yourselfers. They like to know every last aspect and detail of how each job, each responsibility, each task in their business works. That's noble, probably part of the reason, if that's one of your reasons, that you are successful. However, with a basic business website, you don't necessarily need to know how to do it. Now, you can go on the internet and find a handful of website building tools where you can do it yourself. You may scratch your head There may be some nuance, but you can figure it out and do it fairly inexpensively. However, with the hours that you spend tackling that, you're probably not going to get a good payback. You can contact someone like me who already knows how to do it, and literally through a descriptive email or a short phone conversation, they can take the ball from you and create a completely satisfactory, practical, and good-looking website for your business. So the point is, you do not have to know how to create a website. Reason number 3, I'm too busy running the business. I understand that. A lot of business owners are working 20 hours a day. They don't have time to sleep, much less think about a website. Well, as I just mentioned a moment ago, not only do you not have to know how to create a website, if you've got literally 5 to 10 minutes, or a staff member or a family member can pick up a phone or type an email, you can contact someone like me and have a website for your business up and running in short order. Number 4, I hear this a lot. My business is too small for a website. With all due respect, if that's one of your reasons, that's silly. Even if you're a sole proprietor, maybe you're teaching piano lessons 2 days a week, or if you're a retiree that has a little side deal going on, and you do all the work a couple 3 days a week just for some extra income, that's no reason to not have a website. Even if you just have a handful of customers, as I mentioned earlier in this video, they're going to try to find you online through their cell phone, through their computer, through their laptop. Why don't you consider making it easy for them to find you? Number 5, my business is too new. That sounds like a good reason. If you don't even have a business yet, or it's just starting out, you might think, I don't need a website. I'm here to tell you that that is completely false. I have worked with many businesses before they were even created to help them put together a strong business website. In doing so, it helped them formulate how they put their business together and how they went to market. No business is too new to have a website, and I would submit that any new business here in the 21st century should have website design be part of how they create a new business. Number 6, I do not have the time. This is similar to I'm too busy running the business. I have a number of business owners who are busy doing other things and running their business. They have family, church, social, political. Sometimes they just don't want to work more than 40 hours a week. And they say, well, I just don't have time to fool with the website. As I mentioned earlier, that's kind of silly. Either yourself or a staff member or someone else can contact someone like me, and literally within 10 minutes, a good web designer can listen to what you're saying, conceptualize what you want, and begin the business of putting together a basic website. Time is no longer a barrier to having a business website. Number 7, this is a common one. I don't have the money. Websites are too expensive. You know, that might be true if you were building a sophisticated website, or you had thousands of products that you were trying to put into an e-commerce website. And that was certainly true back in the 1990s, but today it's not. If you're a do-it-yourselfer who wants to spend several hours or maybe 2 or 3 days trying to put together a basic website, you can do that for less than $30 and a $15 a month monthly charge. If you don't want to mess with doing it yourself, you can contact someone like me who knows how to produce, put together, maintain, and operate websites. And for a business website in its most basic form, unless you have some kind of bell or whistle that you want to add, you should be able to get it done between $300 and $350 in a one-time charge. with there being a monthly fee typically in the $10 to $15 range to host and maintain the website each month off in the future. A basic business website, your electronic business card, is no longer expensive. That is no longer a good reason. Number 8, my competition does not have websites. Why should I? Wow, if you're that lucky that your competition in your marketplace, none of them have websites, you need to get one today. I mean, like right now. Why is that? Well, in your marketplace, all of the existing and potential customers in that world, again, we're going to be looking for that product, that service, or combination thereof through their cell phones, on their computers, with their laptops, on their TV. Imagine if you had a marketplace where no one else had a website but you did. You very well might have to hire someone to take care of the extra business. Just because your competition are all kind of lame and kind of behind the times, this could be your chance to dominate your marketplace with a website. Just because your competition doesn't have one is not a good reason. Number 9, I don't really understand computers. The unspoken part of that is I really don't like computers. That's fairly common. Most business people are enjoying and being involved in whatever it is that their business entails and don't want to mess with a computer. As I've already mentioned, you don't have to understand computers. You can even be scared of them or not like them. It's not an issue, not a problem these days. You contact somebody who knows how to make a website for you, spend a few minutes with them, spend a few dollars, and it doesn't matter if you like or understand computers or not. You have to realize that your customers do understand computers and do like them and do use them. Your website is to make them happy versus your lack of wanting to have a website because you don't like computers. Number 10, I can't find someone I like to do a website for me. I get that one. With all due respect to other technicians and artists and business owners in my field, which is the internet, computer, technology, so forth, a lot of them are shy. That's the best way I know how to say it. Some people say they have some social phobias and some weirdness about them. In other words, they're not very good at conversation. They don't necessarily like to appear with people face to face. Perhaps they like to hide behind email addresses. I think that all boils down to calling them a geek. There's nothing wrong with a good geek. The world runs now on buildings full of people who are introverts and don't necessarily understand how the bigger picture works, but they do a darn good job. But with that said, there are people in the internet website world who you will like, who can talk to you, who can listen to you, who do understand how business operates and are not just sequestered in the world of code and a computer screen. I like to think I'm one of those people. There are plenty of others out there. Just because you haven't found someone who's not a geek that you can't deal with doesn't mean they do not exist. That's not a good reason. Number 11. The reason I don't have a website is because I don't like the internet. Well, guess what? I don't particularly like the internet either. I remember back in the days when I had a telephone with a dial on it. You know, where you put your finger in it and spin it around and you do each number one at a time. I remember having an IBM Selectric computer. We didn't have word processors. I remember when a fax machine, a new one, cost $4,000 and it was the coolest, most high-tech thing you could ever imagine for your office. The internet, for all of its value or lack thereof, has created a host of things you have to think about and a host of things you have to deal with. But it doesn't matter whether I or you don't like the internet. The reality is most of your customers do like the internet. They're on it and they use it, and one of the reasons and ways they use it is to find you and your products or services. It's not about you not liking something. in a business setting, it has to be you liking the fact that your customers would find you through that means and just kind of getting over the internet thing. Okay? Take care of your customers. Don't worry about whether you like the internet or not. Number 12, you can't sell what I have to offer on the internet. Well, I don't know, in putting together this video, exactly what your business does, what kind of service might be provided, or what kind of product or products you put out there, or combination thereof. But I can tell you from personal experience and from dealing with dozens of other people, there is absolutely not a service that cannot be offered on the internet, and there is no product, except for a few illegal ones, that will not translate well to the web. Let me give you a very brief example. I started a business back in 1997. It was solely on the internet, and it promoted the most obscure, strange medical consulting business that you can think of. The only reason I did it was to figure out and hone my skills in creating a website. I had no thought that anybody would actually respond to what I was offering. I did it solely as a programming and website development schooling for myself. I put this together, extremely obscure. I can tell you about it in person sometime if you'd like me to. It's a long story. But within 1 month, I was busy with clientele from this simple website I put up, and with 3 months, it became a full-time business. And I promise you, the services that I were offering, very, very small market, but they found me, and away you go. Unless you've got something illegal, such as an endangered species like rhino tusk, or pharmaceuticals that are off the grid, you can put whatever you have going on the internet and people will respond. It's as simple as that. Number 13. You know, I plan to get a website, I really do. I know my business needs one, I just haven't got around to it yet. Well, as you're looking at your computer screen or cell phone as you're listening to this video, you can see that I've got you around to it. If an electronic version of Around to It is not suitable for you, let me know, and I will personally mail you a physical Round to It. 13, haven't got around to it, is not a valid reason, and I've just overcome that electronically and in person if need be. Number 14, I'm too old to have a website for my business. A corollary to that is I'm too old, I'm thinking about retiring. Well, you know what? That's silly. If you're running a business and can still fog a mirror each morning when you wake up, and even if you're going to retire next week, you should still have a business website. Why is that? Well, if you're retiring, you probably have to announce it to all your customers. If you don't have a website, that means hundreds, thousands of envelopes and little letters or cards telling them that you're retiring. If you have a website, you just say, look, check out my website, I'm retiring. Additionally, I know lots of people who are, quote, old, who are in business, who talk about retiring for years. You know, if you're at that point and you're listening to this video, I have a pretty good suspicion you'll still be in business 5 years from now, 10 years from now, regardless of what you think about your longevity. Come on, don't use your age as an excuse to not at least have a good business website. Number 15. But wait, let me stop just a second before I get to 15. If you're holding on to any of these first 14 reasons for not having a website, with all due respect to you, stop. Let go of one or more of these reasons. I've done my best to try to obviate and clear up these misconceptions. The reality is, regardless of whatever reason or excuse you have for not yet getting a website, it makes no sense. Procrastination is hurting you. If you continue down these roads and you do not ultimately get a website, I can guarantee you that over the next 5, 10, 15 years, your business will suffer, and in many markets and in many circumstances, it will put you literally out of business. The reason that will happen is because your customers, over time, are becoming more expectant, more experienced, and more involved with approaching businesses through their cell phones, through their TVs, through their computers, laptops, tablets, etc. If you're not there, they're not going to worry about whether you've got a paper business card or not. They're just going to go with someone who's more accessible electronically, deal with them, and not deal with you. It really boils down to taking care of your customers and putting yourself in a position to get in front of their ears and eyeballs in ways that maybe you don't think you need to. I promise you, you do, or the world will pass you by and your business will slowly but surely peter out. Reason number 15 that I've heard through the years is I do not want to grow my business. And you know, that is the only reason that I can think of that's valid. If you come to me and say, look, I'm happy where I'm at, I'm making good money, I've got plenty of customers, what we're doing is working, I do not need to grow the business, even if the business stopped tomorrow, I'd be cool with it. Okay, well, if you have that as your reason for not having a website, I'd say, well, maybe you don't need one. Now, with that said, I would still try to talk you into getting a website. Not because I would want to be the person that builds your website for you, makes a few bucks off it. Let me give you an example from the article I read just a few days back from the Associated Press. They interviewed a gentleman from Indiana who said exactly that. My business is fine. I don't really need or want a website. His name was Steve Love. He is a practitioner of handmade sausages and other pork meats. He runs a business called Loveland Farms in Bloomington, Indiana. Basically, the guy raises pigs and some black Angus cattle, grinds them up, puts some spices in it, and apparently has a pretty happening business. He's got a little shop called the Sausage Shack in Nashville, Indiana. From what I can tell from this article, he's doing pretty good. But when they ask him why in the world would he not want a website, he said, I'm already maxed out. I'm scared it would blow me up. Well, he might be right. If he's got some nice sausages out there that people like, he might have to upscale his game. He might have to hire some people. He might have to do something a little more than he's doing. That might be a good reason. He just doesn't want to do that. However, what I would tell Steve is, look, that may all be true, but what about your existing customers? Let's not try to blow you up, but let's get you a good, clean, professional, practical, simple business website. Call it your electronic business card, so those people who are trying to find your store or check you out at the local farmer's market, or those restaurant people who lost your card and are trying to find you online can at least find you. It's my opinion that Steve, while he might be scared of success and having to grow a business beyond his capabilities, still needs a website, for no other reason to take care of his existing customers. And so those are the 15 reasons, although I've heard dozens more over the years, on why business owners do not yet have a website for their operation. I have to add a 16th because it happened this morning. I had a customer who I was working with who said, you know, Tim, I don't need to have a website. I'm on Facebook. I said, dude, come on. You don't get it, with all due respect. That's like a New York City taxi cab company going, hey, we bought some golf carts. We're adding like 50 golf carts to our fleet. Well, golf carts are transportation. They might get you around a couple of blocks or so in New York City, but you're going to get wet, you're going to get hot and cold, and they're really not taxi cabs. Don't get them confused. It's the same thing with Facebook. Facebook's a great resource. You should be on there. But it's not a solid, basic business website. If you have a website, the whole world sees it. If you're on Facebook, only a very narrow band of your customers and potential customers will find you. It's only your friends, your family, and your followers. That's not a very big marketplace, and it's certainly not a professional website presence, even though you might for some reason think it is. But I digress. Regardless of your reasons, your fears, your apprehensions, your reticence, whatever blockages or reasons that you have for not getting a website, I'd like to ask you to do yourself a favor. Put those in a big wad and put them over to the side for a minute and replace that with what your existing and future customers' needs and wants and behaviors are. Your current and future customers almost all have cell phones. Almost all of them have laptops and computers. They have televisions. They have tablets. They have all sorts of these electronic devices, and if you are not present there in a profound, visible way, they can't find you. You lose. Your competition, who does have a website and a little bit of an electronic presence, wins. It's not about a website. It's not about cost. It's not about complexity. It's not about personality. It's not about some habit pattern around websites you've gotten into. No. It's about what does your customers expect? What do they use? What do they need? At a minimum, in the 21st century, whether you like it or not, you need, at a minimum, a basic business website that reflects who you are, what you're about, what you do, and do it in a visually appealing and simple, straightforward way. I hope this presentation, at a minimum, has got you to think, and hopefully it will motivate you to immediately go about the business of getting a basic business website. Personally, I don't really have a vested interest on whether you create that on your own with some of the online tools that are available. It doesn't matter to me if you call any of my competition anywhere around the country and have them do it. Obviously, I'd be honored and open and most happy to help you do that for yourself and your business if you'd like. I like to think I know what's going on and make it happen for you. But it's really not about me or my competition or how you go about doing it. It's about you and your business and ultimately having you join the 21st century. Perhaps kicking and screaming, but at least getting you a simple, classy, effective, practical business website. This is Tim Collins for Alabama Computer Guy, helping you make technology work like you want it to. Thank you.